street, they were completely rammed. They were filled up to the gunnels, they were queuing down the street. They said, you should have been here last week. I swear, you should have been here last week. Oh yeah, you should have been here last week.
Hello and welcome to this new edition of the comedy podcast You Should Have Been Here Last Week, hosted by myself, Steve Gribbin, and fellow comedian Paul Ricketts, in which we delve and we dig into the murky depths of the comedy industry and certain aspects thereof. And this week's particular subject is the so-called gift shop comics. People that have merchandise to sell.
I don't know if it used to be something that I saw more, let's say 10 years ago. There used to be three different sorts. People who used to sell DVDs of themselves doing what they just done to the audience, which is comedy, hopefully with a bigger audience, better lit, and better response than the night they've just done. Because otherwise, why film it and sell it as a DVD? Yeah. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it would be comedians who have a dream to do something else. So it'd be either music, non-comedy music, or slightly amusing comedy music, or the detective novel. I mean, I could say writer, but it turns out most of the time it's a detective novel or autobiographical.
I mean, I had to declare some skin in the game because,
of course,
back in the day, I was actually one of those people, and I used to sell a lot, but I gave up doing it because they're, as you know, I don't drive, and they're fucking heavy. I just have to carry them everywhere in the fucking case, and they're really heavy to try. This is CDs, not DVD. I never sold DVDs. I mean, nowadays, I don't think it's that common a thing really now to sell merch. The modern equivalent of it is after the end of every gig, people say, my name is, and they make sure they say their name several times, and they go, and if you want to follow me, and then they link every single one of their social media channels. That's the modern equivalent of it.
You don't need to have the hard copy. You can have the digitalized copy, and you go online and watch that digitalized version. That's just the way of life in terms of media, full stop. It's all become, zeros and ones rather than a bit of plastic or a bit of paper.
Most of the big companies, though, if you have a set recorded, they send you the set, the whole thing. Then you have to watch it and decide which bits you want. But, they used to, I've got thousands of DVDs upstairs of recordings, which I've never really looked at. The job of the comedian now is not just to be comedic on stage, it's to do everything, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to veer too much into that because I still think there is the main reason why people still do this, and you touched on it, it's such an easy way to make money. In fact, even your excuse for you not doing it is, how heavy is 10 CDs that you're going to knock out at a £5 each minimum? How heavy is that?
Can I just say too heavy?
Really?
Yeah, it just makes your bag really heavy.
I'm sorry, Gribbin. If you had more gumption, you would have had that car by now, and you would have learned how to drive.
Yeah, I know.
And then you'd be carrying loads of them.
I actually wouldn't. Because that it did stop that, when things did change to digital, people don't buy CDs anymore.
They still do. They still do. That's why people are still selling them. There's a comic who I won't mention the name of, but I was watching him doing his performance only very recently, and he does a spiel at the end, and he goes out to the foyer and he knocks out the CDs, and he makes probably half the amount of the money he's going to take from the gig, if not more, from selling the CDs. And he will take any amount of money. That's his spiel. He'll go, I will take anything. Do you want to give me 1 penny? I'll take the penny. And it's brilliant reverse psychology, because they go, would you really take a penny? I go, yeah, I would. And he said, sometimes they give me the penny and I take it. And then they laugh, no, that's right, here's a tenner. or here's 20
Yeah.
quid. But I said to him at the end of his set, I said, I'm starting to realize that your set is a great big infomercial for the product sale at the end of the gig.
In a way, it's like one long bucket speech, isn't it?
Yes, it's up to a certain point. And it is easy money to make.
I can see why people do it. But as I would say that I think that it's getting less and less common now that you can all go online and see anybody,
Yeah, but the performance stuff, I don't think is the main bit of it. I mean, even though this particular comic I'm talking about, yes, it is, but it's for him, it's nicely recorded versions of his songs. So I've seen other comics who have then recorded albums, and then you have the album, and you got the CDs, you printed up the hard copy, they're sitting there in a box, in the loft, and you figure, well, what's the point of having them? It's got nothing to do with the comedy. It's added value, isn't it? So, I mean, you have a band, and I would even suggest to you that at the end of the gig, you could still knock out some of that stuff, because why not? And it's got nothing to really do with what you've just done on stage, apart from the fact that, you're also a musical comic. But here's some wonderful songs that I've done that you might like as well.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't mix the two. I don't think. I think that's taking the piss slightly.
Is it?
Yeah,
I've seen people do it.
I wouldn't do that. Nah.
Why? I mean, I'm not saying. Okay, here's an example. You were there, so you saw this. So I'm going to say the name. So Ian Stone, wonderful comic. And
very funny man. We're both fans of his, to the point it's cost me money. We did a gig with him, and he would close. He did a fantastic job, and he was selling his autobiographical book. So, okay, there's some funny stuff in it for definite, but it's not complete. I mean, it's different from his stand-up. It's an autobiographical book, of his teenage years, and I went up to him basically to congratulate him on a great performance. And as I got to him, he was at the doorway with his books on a table, ready to sell them. And I just thought, I'd just say a quick well done to Ian and then go back to the green room. And as I came up to him, I went, oh, no, it's all right. Because I suddenly realised I'm going to be blocking the way for people who want to buy books. I said, what? No, it's all right, Ian. I'll say it later. He goes, oh, I know what you want to say. I went, oh, okay then. So I just went into the green room, comes into the green room after he's finished selling all his books. And he goes, well, so what was it, Paul? I said, well, you already know. He goes, yes, of course I do. You want one of my books, don't you? And I didn't want his book, not for any particular. I mean, that wasn't the reason I went up to him. But of course, when someone says, you want one of my books, don't you? It's hard to say, no, I'm not that bothered actually, Ian. But I did, of course I want one of your books. And he gets the book out and he goes, yeah, that'll be 15 quid. Did you pay it?
Well, I said to him, oh, I don't know if I've got 15 quid on me. Go, yes, you have. We got paid in cash. There was no way out. No way out.
You had to buy it.
So I got the book, and here it is. Here's the book.
To be someone, because it's all about his obsession with the Jam, isn't it?
Yeah. And I said, look, I want you to sign it if you're going to do this. So he signed it, and I asked. He said, "What do you want me to put in it?" And I said, "To Paul, paid in full."
Yeah, very nice Eric B. and Rakim reference there. I mean, I actually think that there's an interesting subgenre of literature, which is comedians' books. Yes. Because I've got quite a few now. I mean, I've got James Dowdall's, which is excellent. That's about the perfect pub, which I think is one of the best ones. I've got them sort of in a little bit of they've got a shelf to themselves. And autobiographies, I mean, the Bob Mortimer one is excellent as well. That's really good. I've read loads of them, actually. Well,
my favourite is Dave Thompson's, which he did give it to me for free. And the book is pretty much about that. It's the sex life of the comedian. And
Yes. Well, plenty of scope with his particular life for that, isn't there?
absolutely, you couldn't put it down. It was so
Well,
sticky.
literally. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, he won't mind us saying that because he's very.
He even asked me for a quote for the second reprint, I think, and because I did sort of get what he was, the subtext, because there is a subtext. A lot of comedians do have literary illusions. Yeah, there's quite a few books that have been knocked out by your comic.
Ramesh is as good as well. It's very well written. I'm a bit of a. I like the autobiographical genre or genre. And I'm, as you know, I have been writing mine. I must finish it.
Yes,
my one will be hopefully coming out later on this year, called Jimmy Tarbuck Ate My Sandwiches.
Haven't you been writing this since the 1980s?
No. I've been writing it since the start of the pandemic, but I keep thinking of more bits to go. I mean, eventually I'll have to stop. I keep thinking of more bits, and then I sometimes think, oh no, that's a bit libelous. So it'll have to be proofread by someone that can advise me what not to say.
Yeah, but will you, when it is finally published, will you be selling it after gigs?
Oh yes, I will.
There you go.
Of course. What would be the point of that?
Of the gift shop comic. He's back in town.
Yeah. But also it'll have like a CD.
With free CD.
With free CD. That thing about part of it as well is that you have to be prepared to, because most comics want to do the gig and fuck off, don't they?
Yeah.
But you have to stay behind and make a bit more of an effort to.
Yeah, and talk to people. To people, which is, I think, sometimes because comedians would prefer all discourse to be with a microphone, lights, and 100 watts per channel.
Yeah.
To actually be stood in front of real people and having to talk to them without that, it's a lot of comics they can't bear it.
I mean, I don't mind. It's the actual transactional thing that I can't. I do like talking to people after gigs, but I don't like that thing of, I'm being very friendly with you. Now give me your money.
No, get a card reader. Get a card reader.
I don't mean that. I mean that. Yeah, even with a card reader, it's obvious what you want. Look, I've got a card reader anyway. But people have, that lots of comics have got no shame about doing that.
I mean, if you find it uncomfortable, then it's going to be hard for you to sell anything.
I don't know whether, as you've seen it done so many times that you think, oh, can I be bothered to do it again?
I've done this several times when I've been on the bill with some gift shop comics. Is that then I say, well, yes, obviously the blah blahs they've been trying to sell you some DVDs. Thingy's been trying to sell you a book, and I've also brought, I have some cigarettes here for £1.10 for each one. If you want to come and see me afterwards, I'll be selling these. Recently, it's morphed into out of date COVID tests.
That's very fun. Do you know what I mean? And of course, I know he wouldn't mind. He's no longer with us. But Jeremy Hardy used to have a brilliant line about that. He said, "And if you want to see me afterwards, I'll be trying to get rid of a few of my records. I've got some Lindisfarne albums I'm particularly keen to get rid of." I mean, that's a good way of doing it. Perhaps, by the way, somebody more enterprising than you or I should open up a comedian's gift shop. Purely, you could put it online, purely dedicated to, comedians' extracurricular activities. You remind me of one last story. Dan Evans. So Dan Evans, he was basically, when he was thinking about writing a book, another comic who I can't remember, but he'd also written a book and he was also a promoter. And so he booked Dan Evans to turn up at the gig. And when Dan Evans turned up at the gig, they had a really good chat about writing. And Dan was going, well, I'm thinking about doing it myself. And actually, I'd be really interested in having a copy of one of your books.
And the promoter comic said, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll give you one at the end of the night. I'll get a copy for you." At the end of the night, he gave him the book, and Dan went, "Oh, thank you very much," and got in the car, started driving home, and stopped off to get a coffee, and then just thought, "I'd better check my money," and he realised that the promoter deducted the cost of the book out of his cash for the night.
Yeah. Oh God, that's brilliant. Well, there's nothing you can do then. You've de facto bought the book, haven't you?
Yeah.
But I was going to say, for any of our listeners or viewers or whatever, a great comic who no longer performs comedy anymore, but Bob Boyton is a very, very good writer. I just went to the book launch of his new collection of short stories called Johnny Fortune and Other Stories, and he writes brilliantly about the lives of working class Londoners and people who are sort of kind of existing on the margins, and I'd highly recommend that.
I have one of his books, so I'll recommend it as well. So Bob Boynton, we can recommend Queeve.
Yeah, they're great. They're detective stories, aren't they?
Yeah, you're not so certain about Queeve, are you? You took a bit of
No,
time
I am.
there.
No, it's because I was writing his name down. I was just so bloody nerdy. I thought, I'll just write his name down for no reason.
Yeah, because it's hard to spell.
Yeah, I know how to spell it. Cainh.
Yeah.
Not forgetting Ian Moore. He does great books as well.
Yeah.
I've got the first one of those. I mean, actually, the bookshelf now dedicated to books of comedians could be quite a big bookshelf.
Yes, but not big enough to have a shop like you were talking about. I mean,
no. I'm talking about mugs, whatever. Nobody flogs a mug of themselves, do they?
One last story. Actually, I just remembered this. No, I won't do the name. So I went to see a promoter comedian in his club in the South Coast, and just it was before I was a comic, and I quite enjoyed his set. And he was there selling his DVD at the end of the night, and he would sign them. And he said, what should I put? He said, well, I said, look, I'm actually thinking of doing comedy myself. And he said, well, I'll put good luck with the comedy. And then I went back years later. This time I'd started comedy and saw him again. And he came up to me again and he said, haven't I seen you before? I said, yeah, I came in before. I was telling you, I told you that. So I was starting comedy, and I have started it now. And he goes, oh, great. Well, here's a CD. And he wrote, good luck with the comedy. Exactly the same thing. I bought two of them, exactly the same DVD.
Did you not have the heart to tell him?
No. And I haven't got the heart to tell him. I've never watched either of them.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh,
but I've kept them. I've kept
them.
Yeah. Because if he dies, I've got two copies now. Assigned to me. If he ever gets famous.
Might be worth a lot of money, might they?
No, I doubt it.
No.
Hope against hope.
Hope against hope, yeah. So I think that's a good idea. More mugs with like comedians' pictures on them. Come on, let's think of some merchandise. What about a pen? You hold it upside down. The comedian tells a joke. I don't know. I'm just free forming.
I mean, no, I can't figure. What is good merch for a comedian? I suppose
that's what I want.
A little microphone.
That's little key rings. That's key good. Rings, fridge magnets.
Yeah, with punchlines on. And that was only the teachers.
Yeah. Also, like, what are the chances on your fridge?
Quite frankly.
Oh God! It's gone off my head. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And I genuinely can't remember their name, but you talk about comedians flog the DVD of their set, albeit recording it. And the guy selling the DVD was saying, "Here's a DVD. This is my act. If you've enjoyed my act," and he absolutely stormed it. And the guy was going, "Oh yeah, I love you. You got your paid a tenner." Then about a year later, he went back to the same venue. The guy came up to him and goes, "What the fuck? Well, you fucking... This is all the same. This is the same set. This is the same fucking shit." And then the guy was going, "Yeah, but I said it was the same set." He goes, "I want my fucking money back, mate."
But all I'm thinking is, if you went to watch a band and you bought the DVD or the CD, and you wouldn't come back to the next gig a year later and go, "Wait a minute, it's the same songs you played in the gig."
Fucking
exactly
same songs.
I've got, and this album I've got, it's the same thing happened with the album. It's the same songs you did at the gig.
I want my money back.
Saw you on some TV show. You were singing the same song you did at the gig.
Oh God, that'd be funny actually. Then comedians would go into a studio with nobody around to record, like, the proper versions of their set
over 18 months.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just work out the jokes in the studio. We just use the studio as an instrument, really. Sometimes the studio is part of the joke.
I like effects, me. Yeah, I like to think on my feet. Yeah. The people brought comedians, but it's like this writing is the same writing that I've seen before. I've fucking seen this writing. Give me my money back. Oh God. Merchandise. Come on, comedians. The thing is, though, to get serious for a moment. No, but we are in the process of selling ourselves, aren't we? So the whole thing is a sell. It's a sell, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all prostitutes.
We're all prostitutes, as the pop group said. But when we had Adam on, Adam Bloom was talking about this as well. They talk about the idea of selling the joke, and the audience has to buy into, as it were, your persona or the way that you are on stage, and so it's only an extension of that. I don't want it to be, in a sense, because it is. I'm very much a believer that it's an art form as well when it's done really well. But we're in that position. I was just going to say, at the end of that cremation thing, there'd be a bloke with the back with the Bible going, "It's saying,
it's
I've read this.
I've got one of these for free in a hotel. It's in a drawer for nothing.
Thou shalt not kill it.
You want me to put money in a fucking tray?
Oh,
I've got one of these. Got loads.
Where's the keyring with Jesus on it?"
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyway, we've talked about this many times, you and I, about the fact that you now, a comedian, is not only have you got to think about the time that you're on stage, but the time that you're off as well. Social
you don't
media.
Want to overrun.
Well. Go on too long. At the end of every comedian's life, they'll be sort of lying on their deathbed and you see a little red light.
yeah, the red light went on 3 minutes ago.
yeah. The priest will be there going, "Look, the red light's here. Look, have you seen it?" Splashing their phone at you. "Get off."
We all stood round the coffin with the lights on.
And then the priest will lean over you. "Have you got any last words?" "Yeah. Do you want to buy my DVD? It's got my life in it." "Oh, no, mate. I've seen it.
Yeah, just one last thing before I go.
Yeah. Get my book." Oh, dear. Oh, I think that's a suitable way to end that particular episode, isn't it?
Death, as always, is the suitable ending.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that used to be one of my favourite lines of Pat Condell's. My kids say to me, Dad, what happens after you die?" He said, "Well, normally I just walk off stage." Oh my God. Anyway,
that's the end of this particular episode of focusing on the gift shop comic. Let's hope he comes back with more merchandise in the future, as we will in a couple
yeah.
of weeks' time with a new podcast. And so if you've enjoyed this one, share, subscribe, just tell people about it.
Ironically, that's exactly what we're doing now. We're promoting the podcast, and somewhere
there will be a DVD version of the best of the podcast. That'll be coming out soon. We'll be selling it at the end of gigs. So come see us at a gig. I'm going to be in Hemel Hempstead tonight. Come see me. And I will have a CD with the best of You Should Have Been Here Last Week. And any amount of money you want to give me, I'll take.
I'll be in Great Torrington next in Devon, isn't it? And I fully expect a bloke to come up to me with his phone. Go, this podcast, I've seen it. It's just people talking. Just two blokes talking about fucking, where's my fucking money bet?
So, so see us live, even though there's no chance that this will come out before these gigs take place. I don't know why we bothered to mention them. But, yes, I'm going to make a CD best of and flog them at gigs. So come see us live and we'll sell you some crap.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to finish. See you later. Yeah.
Cheers, bye.
Bye. Bye.
They said you should have been here last week. I swear you should have been here last week.